Okay, I'll go ahead and call our April 6th Town Council meeting to order. We can have a roll call, please.
Morris.
Yes.
Lindbergh. Yes. Woods.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Cottle.
Here.
Passanella.
Present.
All right, great. Would also like to introduce and have Pastor Charles Stewart from Haymarket Baptist Church come up and do our invocation. Yes, sir. That'd be great. I'll stand.
Let's pray together. We come to stillness and quiet in these moments in order that we might remember the many blessings that fill our lives, the many responsibilities that inform our work. We are grateful for all that we have and grateful that we have the opportunity tonight to come together in the common pursuit of securing and extending these goods for all in this community. For the rendering of these obligations, we acknowledge the need for wisdom, for patience, for self-discipline, for compassion, for courtesy, for humility, for mutual respect. Most especially are we mindful of the need for love, the love of this place we call Haymarket, and the love of its people, our neighbors. O Spirit of life and love, graciously supply our need tonight. Grant that the deliberations of this body might be a source of richest blessing unto all in this town in these days and in the days to come. Amen.
Great. Thank you, Pastor. If we continue standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Yep. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our first order of business is our citizens' time. This will be an opportunity for the council to hear from our citizens. If anyone has anything to say, we could come up to the podium and just address the council with your name and address. Appreciate it.
Dottie Leonard, 14801 Washington Street in the Haymarket, and a neighbor of the Haymarket Baptist Church. I want to acknowledge Pastor Stewart and thank you for being here. And I want to also say thank you to your church for praying for me while I was so sick. I got a card in the mail when I hardly knew if I was going to live or not, and they said they were lifting me up in prayer, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much. I'm here tonight just because I like to watch you all work. You're doing such a good job. But I wanted to call attention to the fact that our historic overlay is the main reason that we are able now to stand up to Dominion Virginia Power and defend our town. It's because of that historic overlay and the fact that we still have it that you have the power to say, we have this precious little historic town that was referenced as Western Prince William County's jewel for a number of years. And I was mentioned in Sarah Turner's book on the history of Haymarket as being a preservationist. And I put that into action by buying an old house and doing my best to preserve it. I'm still working on it. It's in progress. But I do want to say that that historic overlay is very important. Because of that, we have power to save our town. And I want to thank you all for restoring the faith that the people of the town of Haymarket needed to have in their town government. You've only had 9 months, and lots of things have been accomplished, and I'm proud that you're doing so much so right. But, and now the rest comes, the historic overlay just before you took office was in jeopardy because the Planning Commission sent up a request to reduce it to a very small part of the town. When you all took office, you put a stop to that. What if you hadn't? What power would you have against Dominion Virginia Power now? So that was so important. And another way that I need to let you know, there's trouble on the Planning Commission level. And I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone who has served, because I'm grateful to anyone who's willing to stick their neck out there and serve. But we need to finish adding to that board so that a couple of people don't have control. And Councilman Caudle, you're doing an awesome job of being there. I so appreciate the fact that you're the liaison from this board being there. But I don't want to see a continuation of someone who's on the Planning Commission on the BZA. So take that for what you want. No disrespect, just it's not healthy right now. It's a continuation of what was there for a long time, and we need to finish your work. So I'm grateful for you for doing that. And as a preservationist, I have to say those houses on the Harover property, which I say is Haymarket's property, are not that significant. We have torn down beautiful, wonderful Victorian and colonial houses, let the fire department burn them down for experience. That's all a thing of the past. Thank God for the historic overlay. Now, do what your plans are, but you don't need to save those houses. Preserve a place that the community can utilize, like the pavilion that's in Manassas. And I think, Councilman Caudle, you mentioned a pavilion in Reston once. They can be done so that they have lots of uses. They can cover, if they're large enough and designed adequately, they can serve as a place for the town to gather for musical events. It can also provide a shelter when you have crafters on Haymarket Day, when it's a rainy day. So, and even thinking about maybe some little sides that can be put in if it's a cold day. So there are lots of, it's in your hands. But because I was out of town, I wanted to be able to address that when I came back. Thank you for listening to me.
Great.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Any other citizens who would like to speak during citizens' time?
Hello, everyone. My name is John Dominic. I'm a resident of Haymarket. I live in Dominion Valley on Durrell Place. Been here for about 14 years now, and I just like to say it's nice to live in a town where you can come to the town council meeting and it starts out in prayer. I really appreciate that, and I just want to report a couple of things that we are doing. I'm the vice president of a nonprofit group called Serve Our Willing Warriors. I think most of the council members are aware of that. And what we are doing right off of Waterfall Road, not far from here, is renovating a retreat house, an 11,000 square foot house that's going to be used as a retreat property for our wounded warriors out of Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir. And we've been at it for about a year and a half now, renovating it, and it's coming along. And I really think we're going to be close to being finished in July. And at that time, we're going to have a ceremony, and everyone here, all the council members are invited to that. We'll send out notices to everybody. It's going to be a nice day of food and music and fun with the Warriors and all of our members and volunteers. I'd like to, a couple of things that we've had just recently. We had a great casino night fundraiser just about 3 weeks ago. And it was at Regency in Dominion Valley at the golf club. And we turned out about 200 people to that, and it was a great night of fun. And we actually we raised in excess of $20,000 at that fundraiser. So I appreciate everybody that supported it. Joe Passanello, I really appreciate it. Joe was there, so Dave was there, so we had a great time, and I thank you for it. We got a couple other things coming up in April. Right in Dominion Valley, we have a 5K run and walk, and that's going to be on the 18th of April. We have a motorcycle ride coming up in July. I can't remember the date exactly right now, but again, I'll send out notices to everybody when these events come up. And then we have a golf tournament at Piedmont Country Club in October. So we're going to have a great time at all of those, and anybody that plays golf, rides a motorcycle, likes to run, can get involved, and we really appreciate it. So, and thank all of you guys for helping us and supporting us in the big way you do. I just want to let you all know we really appreciate it, and our warriors and their families appreciate it too. So, thank you all.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. Appreciate your comments there. And anyone else for citizens' time?
Good evening. I'm Chuck Carnahan, 6654 Hunting Path Road. I'll echo Ms. Leonard's comments. You guys are doing a great job. I mean, 9 months in, there has been so much change in this town. It's amazing and greatly appreciated. One example of that was the stakeholder charrette you held here a couple of weeks ago. I was glad to get to participate in that. I think that's a great idea. It's a great vision. I think you need to be out walking the neighborhoods, soliciting even more input as what to do with those. As Ms. Leonard also had a butt in her conversation, I do too. I reviewed your proposed budget that's in your packet tonight. I know you're not acting on it tonight, but hopefully to get you some feedback on it as you go into deliberations later this month. You know, I've said it to every one of you, one of my biggest things is how do we pay for all this? You know, where it comes from. I'll tell you, I was really troubled to see that your treasurer or your town manager or whoever proposed this budget has now lumped all of the operating expenses for both properties into public works as a general fund. I think that creates a big problem because it kind of masks how much these properties are costing you. It's hidden. So it takes a lot more audit work to be able to sort it out and figure out where you are and where you stand in this. Looking at the proposed budget, the quick summary I came up with was you have income of about $200,770. You're projecting maintenance costs of $131,000. You have debt service of $189,000. Plus you have two master plans at $550,000 and $375,000. So you have a net income of $200,000. You have net expenditures of $1.245 million. Extrapolate that out of there, those expenses total 40% of the town's gross budget. Are we willing to put that much money into these properties? And, you know, as we discussed in that charrette, there has to be a funding stream, something dedicated, whether it's the meals tax, real estate, something has to fund those projects. Before you make any plans, you got to have the money in front. It's like writing a check. You can't write a check unless it's there. So I'm really concerned about these numbers because this $1.245 million, I came here exactly a year ago to the April meeting with the previous council, and at that time they were projecting a $634,000 net loss on the operation of those properties. 2 years prior, it was $215,000. So you see it's escalating quickly, even doubling year over year how much money we're proposing to put into those properties. That's pretty alarming when 40% of your budget goes to operate this building and that property down there. You know, I'm all for fixing them up, using them for a community use, but we have to have a way to fund them. I'm not for creating a subsidy for your tenants in this building, for your tenant down there. Why is that burden placed on the taxpayer in this town and the retail customers in this town to support these businesses that are in these properties. You know, they may not be paying top rent. We already know you don't extrapolate their electricity usage, their gas usage. You don't charge them any common area. You know, so you've got to streamline that process and make it work. And you know what? You may lose some tenants over it because their rent's going to go up if they were truly paying their expenses here. You know, this year I'm going to make an additional $450 contribution to the county on my real estate assessment. I'm going to make an additional $252 to the town of Haymarket. You know, we just can't keep living like this. You've got to be a funding stream somewhere of how you're going to fund all this in there. So I hope you take all that into consideration, review this, and I'd really encourage you, you need to talk to your treasurer and your town manager. You need to extrapolate those costs. You can't lump trash removal, snow removal in with all the operating expenses of these properties. You know, you've got to be able to audit that and make sure what you're truly spending here on this property and in the future on that property down there. So that's my comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chuck.
And any other citizens' comments? If not, we're going to go to our next item is our consent agenda. As we see, there's many items here. First of all, I wanted to see if there's any council that wants to remove any items off of this to have an individual vote. Otherwise, we'll keep them all together.
I would just like to ask our council members, we talked last week about the last item relative to appointment of Sherry as the town treasurer. And I think the issue was documentation. And I think this was updated. I just want to make sure those that had questions are okay with that. And if they're okay with that, then I think we can just go forward with it. But that's my only comment.
All right. Well, seeing that, I'll entertain any motion to accept our consent agenda items as noted in our packet.
Somebody like to move?
Yeah, that's what we're waiting for a motion.
I move to accept the consent agenda as is in the packet.
Motion's been seconded by Mr. Cottle. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll go roll call vote, please.
Morris. Swinford.
Yes.
Woods.
Aye.
Cottle.
Yes.
Hassanalla.
Aye.
All right, great. Okay. Our next item is our appointments, our Board of Zoning Appeal appointments. I believe we have two of our other applicants here tonight, so if we want, we could go ahead and, during our agenda meeting, we did have Matt Gallagher speak to the council and familiarized him as being a resident in our town. So we have, and it's pronounced, is it LeConte? Yes. If you'd like to come up this time and just you could, yeah,
introduce myself?
yeah, just introduce yourself and.
So my name's Laura LeConte. I live on Green Hill Crossing on Little John Court, and it was mentioned to me by Susie Edwards, and she knows I've been trying to, want to get my feet wet and get involved in local government, and that I believe I was born and raised in Prince William County. I remember when Haymarket was supposed to be Disney America, so I'm probably aging myself there, but so it's just something that I've been interested in, and so Susie's known that, and so she kind of mentioned the Board of Zoning Appeals and that it would be maybe a good fit for me. I have 2 young children, and so it's a little bit about myself and, wanting to get involved and get get out there a little bit. So.
We're great. Well, of course, we always encourage and appreciate residents getting involved as we have opened up 2 of our committees to go from a 5-member to a 7-member just to try to get more input. And we definitely appreciate new faces and new opinions and things like that. But, yeah, do we have any questions?
I do.
Yes, go ahead.
Would you consider even being on the Architectural Review Board?
That's been mentioned to me as recent as of Friday, and
Okay.
short answer, yes.
Okay.
But long answer, I think we need to just kind of have some more time with my husband and kind of discussing
You've
that
got
a little bit
meetings
further. But
once a month typically. It doesn't involve as much as like the Planning Commission, and I just letting her know. Just letting her know. So, if you ever want to,
so short answer, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely interested. And I live in town. I work in town. My son used to ride his bicycle to preschool every day, so I appreciate the sidewalks and stuff that you guys did because I run every day. You guys probably know my husband; he runs every day. So
okay.
we're definitely interested, or me personally, but
And you're trying to get your feet wet by the BZA.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. So that was yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Larry?
I just want to thank you for coming forward.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, I think I didn't know. Aside from losing where I live, I wouldn't have known that there was out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. So go.
Well, great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then I believe we have Ralph Ring. Yeah, like to come up and.
Ralph Ring, 14920 Green Hill Crossing Drive, Haymarket, Virginia. A number of you are familiar with me. All of you are familiar with me, I believe. Pam's scowling a little bit there.
Oh, no, I was shaking my head up and down.
I think just in general what I represent in a reappointment to the BZA is experience and consistency. State statute recommends there be somebody from the Planning Commission. I believe your town council has recommended that there be somebody with experience on the Planning Commission or on the BZA. I believe Brian, your town manager, recommended there be somebody with experience. And having been on the BZA and run those meetings, it can be very technical. Having a knowledge of what happens with codes and statutes, et cetera, that's mostly what you're arguing. You're arguing frequently technical points. But it's more than just the technical points that you're arguing or that the appellate is arguing. Because really what you're looking at is health, welfare, and public safety. And that's always not cut and dry. It's not just code, particularly something like public welfare. That's very diverse. When we were talking about, and it didn't go to the BZA, but when we were talking about having the funeral home here, that was not just a matter of code. It was a matter of listening to the public, what the public wanted, but also what the applicant wanted, because they have a right. If it's their property, they have rights. What it came down to was access, ingress, egress, et cetera. It was code. It was public safety, traffic. It was also public welfare. Was it something the community wanted? So there are a number of things that go into any of your decisions, and many of them are very technical. But it's not just technical. It is also what the community is looking for, what the applicant is looking for. Both sides have rights. How do you balance those? How do you work with those? So it can be a very demanding position. And the BZA, since it is quasi-judicial, you are appointed by the court, you have to, I feel, that there needs to be an awareness of that on the BZA. And again, I think I'm the only one that offers that. I do know Matt Gallagher. I know he's served before. Matt's a smart guy. He's dedicated. I don't know if he's done anything with zoning before or not. I have no idea. But Matt is certainly,
We could just limit it to maybe to just on your Ralph. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions for me?
Nope. No. Okay. All right. None. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that offer.
Yep.
That was
Thank
good.
you. Okay. We have I think we spoke a little bit about different opinions of it.
Did you
Good.
want to fill the positions in any particular order? You've got the two slots that we filled, one with the term ending January 31st, 2020, and one ending January 31st, 2019. Do you want to do them in that order?
I'll leave this up to the council. Let's go around the table here.
Yep,
Yeah.
let's do it in that order.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
So,
Which is the one that would be Ralph's position?
which one is he coming off of?
It would be the 2021, I think.
2021.
Just now, I think, passed it. He's a holdover at this point, just
Right.
January.
Okay. Matt, do you have any questions about the order preference?
No, I don't have. Just to remind the board, according to, excuse me, Code of Virginia 15.2-2308, reading in the state statute, says members may be reappointed to succeed themselves. Members of the board shall hold no other public office in the locality except that one may be a member of the local planning commission. So it doesn't say they have to be, it says they may. Just so we're clear, doesn't have to be.
Okay. All right. And, go ahead, Mr. Pasnell.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. No, I think Ralph makes a good argument, a fair argument, but I continue to maintain my position that, I'd like to get some new blood on some of these boards and commissions. So I see all three as very capable and good candidates, so I'll leave it to the wisdom of the vote.
Okay, do we have a motion, or would someone like to entertain a motion, or further debate or discussion?
One other point, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor.
sure.
It does, the draft motion before you, it does have the names of 3 people for each position. That is the custom in Prince William County for us, and then the first person that you list is the one that we expect that the court will actually appoint to the position. You do have to have a couple of other names of people that would serve if called upon.
Okay. So the motion would actually be for each?
My mic wasn't on, so I'll repeat that for
Sorry, okay.
the home audience. The draft motion has 3 blanks. We usually, what the custom is in Prince William County is to have the person that you want to have appointed be in the first blank, and 2 other individuals who are citizens of the town in the other 2 blanks.
Okay. So we'd actually need 2 of these motions with that type of language? Correct. Okay. All right.
So we actually have 2 openings on the.
But
Correct.
only 2
We're only
openings.
two openings with three candidates, correct?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to, I know that Mr. Aiken, who's not able to be here, Vice Mayor Aiken, did want to make it public that he is in support of reappointing Mr. Ring. Just want to state that for him, state his case. And my personal opinion is that we do reappoint Mr. Ring in order to give Ms. LeConte some time to discuss and think about the possible appointment to the mind is going blank to the ARB. Yes, thank you. Just since we still have an opening there, and she is at least willing to consider that, I think that would be something that would be good.
All right.
Pam agrees with you.
Well,
Yeah.
the one thing you have to know is that if the BZA cannot, that member cannot be on another board, or the ARB, so you can't do both. As Ralph is there as a liaison,
But,
there's a difference,
We
because I know
did-
that Bob,
yeah, I was going to say, we did have.
but he
Mr.
resigned from the BZA, which is why there's another
Right.
seat
Yeah,
open.
so it is possibility
he-
to switch over.
You can switch over.
Yeah.
So he did switch over to the ARB,
Right.
but could not do simultaneously, is my understanding.
Right.
Is that correct?
Okay.
Can I ask a question of Martin, our attorney? So would it be prudent then to vote on all 3 in case one of them wasn't qualified by the court?
Oh,
The motion that we have, sorry
think
for,
we-
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on one second.
Understand the question.
Yeah. All right, so maybe I misunderstood the process. So how are we moving on this? We're moving
would
with
have 2
individually or all 3?
You move individually on each term, each position.
Got it.
And so for the position ending January 31st, 2020, you would have the names of 3 people:
Okay.
John Doe, Jane Doe, and Richard Rowe, whatever they are.
Okay.
You're looking at me funny.
Yeah.
You've never heard of Richard Rowe before.
So you're doing two motions,
Two separate motions, with-
placing it in the order.
and basically in an order, correct?
Correct. You're placing the one that you want the court to appoint first.
All right, so do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the town attorney be authorized to recommend to the Circuit Court of Prince William County the names of Ralph Ring, Matt Gallagher, and Laura Locante for appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals for an unexpired or 5-year term ending January 31st, 2020.
We have a motion on the floor. Waiting for a second. If no second, then go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Okay, second, we have discussion.
So just so I'm clear, we're going to vote on 3 folks in order. So realizing that the first 2 people are going to get in if we have 2 openings, correct?
No, that would be incorrect.
Okay,
The
just
first
want to make
person-
sure.
Right, the first person that is typically recommended would be the
Correct.
one that the court would appoint.
Okay.
If for whatever reason could not, would go to choice B and then A, C, if the court chose not for A and B. So the first person is the one that would be appointed for that first term of 2020.
So for this motion, it would most likely be Mr. Ring that was appointed, and then
And if
move
he
on.
could not.
And then, once this vote is done, we'll make another motion for the second term that ends January 31st, 2019.
So there will be another motion after this one. Any further discussion on the motion? Is everybody clear? Okay, we're going to go for a roll call vote. Oh, sorry.
We're going
Sorry.
to discuss this?
Well, no, that's where discussion is on the motion for this particular one, correct?
I mean, I understand experience is important, and I understand code and all that, but me, personally, I've never served in a public, so capacity until now. I don't know how many others on the council have. So while I think experience is important, I think sometimes a fresh way of looking at things is equally as important because you don't come in with any background. Sometimes you're able to look more objectively. So that's all the comment I would like to make.
And of course, I think the only comment that I would make for discussion would be that this BZA is a quasi-jury. And I'm not sure, I think I made this point before, that I'm not sure by already having knowledge of something prior to me, when looking at something fresh, as this jury would deliberate, hearing both sides, that, I don't know, to me, it'd be like a juror going home and reading a newspaper. Maybe having information prior to, not that you couldn't separate that, I'm sure, but I just point that out, that this is sort of like serving on a jury when these 2 situations come that they have to make a decision on. So, with that, any other further discussion? No. Okay, so the roll call vote would be essentially for Mr. Ring for the appointment, and then Gallagher as a second, and Mrs. LeConte as a third. So I'll go roll call vote, please.
Morris,
No.
Swinford,
No.
Woods,
Aye.
Cottle,
No.
Costello.
Nay.
Okay. All right, do we have a second motion?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that the town attorney be authorized to recommend to the Circuit Court of Prince William County the names of Matt Gallagher and Laura LaConte and Ralph Ring for appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals for term ending January 31st, 2020.
Okay, motion's on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
By Mrs. Swinford, we'll take recognition. Discussion on this motion. See no further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay. All right. And we have one last one.
Mr. Mayor, I further move that the town attorney be authorized to recommend to the Circuit Court of Prince William County the names of Laura LaConte, Matt Gallagher, and Ralph Ring for the appointment for the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term ending January 31st, 2019.
Motion's on the floor and seconded by Mrs. Swinford. Sorry, Joe. Any discussion on this motion?
No, sir.
I do disagree. I think that Mr. Ring would be a good reappointment, and I also would just reiterate my view that Ms. LaConte could be used well in other places, and that would really give her more of an opportunity to serve within the town than the Board of Zoning Appeals, which rarely, if ever, meets during someone's term.
So noted. Any other discussion?
I would just also further note that we have an individual within the town of over 900 adults that has shown interest. And just like me, who entered 9 months ago without any experience, and I think, according to at least one resident, well, two have been doing a good job, thank you. I think she could very well do a good job in the BZA, and we have over 900 more to choose from to be on the ARB. So.
All right. Any further discussion on the motion? Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Nay.
Yes.
Aye. All right, great. All right, well, we thank you all. Thank you again. All right. Yeah, we have some executive work to do tonight in executive session. Yes, sir. You should say that the last.
Let's just do it now.
We switched it.
Oh, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I apologize. Good. All right. Council members' time. We'll start with Mr. Woods.
The only thing I have tonight was from just something I noticed from the building officials' report. It was on page 16 in the packet. It's at the very first paragraph there. He recommends that we look into adopting a property maintenance code. I had a question for Mr. Henshaw if that was something that we are in the works on or have had in the past. I'm just a little, I guess, in the dark on that.
We're taking it.
Yeah.
We are taking his recommendation under account, so we'll begin looking on that. We have a fairly aggressive schedule of strategic plans that we're trying to accomplish right now, but
sure.
Goals. But we will be looking into that. There's tons of ordinances that we are always constantly keeping an eye on. So that's something we will be looking into, but it's not on the immediate front burner. But not that it's not important.
Yep, I just know that that's one of the things, kind of looking into the blight in the town. That was one of the things that we, at least most of us, I believe, ran on, and I would assume one of the things that the citizens recognized and voted us in for. So just want to keep that at least in the back of all of our minds to consider.
Okay. All right. Councilman Passanello.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank everybody who candidates for the Board of Zoning Appeals. I think everybody, they're all good candidates, and I wish them luck as the names go forward to the Circuit Court, I believe. And I don't think there should be any personal issue related to this. I think it's really important that we get some new voices in town, and we continue to have the benefit of some experience on the Planning Commission and the ARB, so I think we're in really good stead there. The second thing is I had an opportunity to walk around town with my wife the other day, and we had a chance to go in Oh So Persnickety, the new shop in town. Great lady, Kimberly Chandler. Just a new shop. I urge everybody to go check it out. She's got some ideas for us, and I've invited her to come to our council meeting, so hopefully we'll have an opportunity to see her. Really nice store, fresh, alive, and hopefully it'll do well. And she did have something really good to say about Denise. She was really pleased about our appointment of Denise as our Main Street coordinator, and she was very effusive in her praise, so I thought you all want to know that. And the final point, and John, thank you for coming tonight. That was great, and I'm hoping to do the walk on the 18th, because I have a walk on the 19th. Well, I don't run that much anymore, but I have a walk the next day, so that'll be a nice warm-up for me for a lymphomathon that we're having in Chevy Chase, Maryland. And one more thing. We had an opportunity to comment to the papers about the VRE. I think that's an issue that we should hold open and support the study. It is just a study. We're not confirming our allegiance to any service, but we would like to get the facts, discover all the facts. And wouldn't it be great to one day to be able to possibly walk to a train station, and wouldn't that do wonderful things for our businesses in town and for commuters and for folks that are getting stuck on 66. So I think it's fair to say we should really support taking a hard look at that. And I would ask my fellow council members for the support on that issue. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. Okay, thank you. Councilman Cottle.
Yes, sir. I second Councilman Passanella's view on the VRE. I think we should definitely take a look at that. I think the time's come for mass transportation here in Prince William County. I can't think of anything more historic than a train depot in a little small town. I think we owe it to the citizens to at least see where that's at. I remember Supervisor Canley came and briefed us, and they're trying to get it to Gainesville. It seems like this would be the next step. Second thing, I was in a business as well, the yoga studio across the street, and they were very appreciative of the sign. And they said that several other the businesses were appreciative of the sign, that they have some signage out there. So I thought that was positive. So town staff, you did a good job there. And then I really appreciate Chuck's comments on the Harover property. I know, having been in this town for a long time, there's been a lot of debate on the validity of those homes. And I would just like to keep pushing for an open space, a pavilion. I appreciate the town and the stakeholders meeting the other night. I heard a lot of positive feedback from folks in the community that they were actually allowed to come out and give opinions. I think that's part of the element that's been missing in our town, to get more people involved. And, you know, I would agree with Chuck that we just need to make sure it's financially solvent, that we have the revenue stream to do it. But, you know, the sooner we can do something on that for the good of the townspeople, I think the better. I think that thing's been hanging around a long time. So I'm all for financial, fiscal responsibility. So that's all I have.
Okay, all right. Councilman Morse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I echo what Joe said about the BZA. I think one of the first meetings that I ever watched had to do, when I saw Ralph in action, and it had to do with him with a case that the BZA was meeting on, and it meant a lot to me to see him representing the town and dealing with the citizens. I took a walk down on Fayette Street, and there seemed to be, maybe it's something I'll discuss with Marshawn afterwards, with the gravel that's flowing over into the road from St. Paul's Church. I have a concern with the food pantry, and I would like to ask the town manager if he could reach out to the leaders there, if they could come and give us an update. As a council, they're operating within the town. If they could come and give us an update, maybe stating that the amount of work that they're doing, who they are serving, if it is primarily the town residents that they're serving, or residents of the county, because we're picking up a huge tab for the food pantry and paying for all their expenses, when in essence they could be, and I don't want to jump ahead before I hear the report from them, but they could be serving Prince William County and we're paying for it. I don't know if they have fully moved out of the the old police station. I passed there last night. The light inside the police station was on. And, I want to echo what Chuck said. I think we need to keep everything separate so that we can look at our profit and loss to see, hey, where are we? Where are their shortfalls? Where are we dumping money into the investments that we have? So I just want to, Mr. Manager, if you could reach out to the food pantry leadership and ask them to come and just give a presentation to us. That's it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Councilman Swinford.
I'd have to agree that we need to be looking at the VRE, that we need to be open to the plans coming in. I also agree that we do need to have a revenue stream to support properties. The budget's not set yet. Obviously, we're going forward with that and looking at it and asking questions about it. I do think that if monies need to be separated for properties, and I think that that can be done even if it's in one lump sum, that the documentation can be there that the money's spent for, and money can always be transferred one place or another. So I'm not so concerned with that. I do want to give a positive shout out to the police department. There certainly has been a lot of commendations given out lately. I know that Corey O'Neill, I was sorry that I couldn't be there when he was presented his award. A lot of positive feedback I've been hearing about the police department. I really do just want to give a shout out. The schools, everywhere you're hearing. And so good job. I appreciate that. That's really all. Although I would like to see someone come on the ARB. So if anybody knows of anybody out there, it is a good way to get your foot into the town. It's typically, truly, one meeting a month, if it's not canceled because we don't have someone come forward. It's not like these others. I've been on the ARB before. I'm on it again. So I do want to put it out there to the community. It is a good way to get your feet wet, to kind of get a feel for the town, what's going on in the town. And it really is just one meeting a month. So there's my pitch for the ARB.
There you go. Well, great. Thank you. I've got just a few things. Of course, this weekend is our first town-sponsored event, our Earth Day, that is happening. It was sponsored by one of the main sponsors was Wegmans. It's from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock groups. So that's right. We're forming in front of Haymarket Baptist to help pick up litter along Washington Street. Also, between 10 and noon, there's several opportunities for families and children to learn about various aspects of conservancy and protecting our earth, having fun. We have some interactive learning centers. We also have a shredder that will be at the Green Hill Crossing Clubhouse parking lot. Not QBE, and I'll bring right into that. So a little switch of venue there across the street, so that is important. Hopefully they'll have some good signs and directions for that. We received a call last week from an organizer for Homes for Our Troops. And I'm not sure where exactly they're based out of, but the gentleman, a Marine Corporal, Marcus Dandria, 25-year-old, married, 4 kids, lost both of his legs in Afghanistan, and he picked Haymarket for his home. So they're going to do a groundbreaking ceremony that is going to be at QBE at 11 o'clock on the 11th. So I've asked the town staff to put our town flags up for our Earth Day celebration and to welcome Mr. Dandrian and his family. There actually is going to be like a little procession. He has an escort from, I think it's going to go from Leeberry down Washington to QBE. The exact time I'll have to find out from our police chief, but I think it's going to probably be close to 11 o'clock. So would be a neat thing to do if we could line these streets with our residents, welcome this guy to our town. So a couple other things. VRE, yes, concur with Joe. I think that this is the time to look at and see what has happened and changed in 6 years. And this information, will at least put us in a better position to see this survey. If we could formally support a survey, I think that would be a very encouraging thing. And speaking to VRE, that means a lot if the town, reaches out and has maybe a resolution to support the study for that to be done. One other issue or concern or thought was, I can't remember exactly how many months ago, probably 5 or 6 months ago, we had one of our residents, A.C. Watts, come up and talk to us about his property on Washington Street, that he's currently zoned residential, and his question or his concern is that him, along with there's a total of 3 properties there that are residential, that in the long-term or comp plan, that he would like to ask the council to consider changing that long-term comp plan to go commercial like the other properties that are on Washington Street. So I've reached out to Marchant to see what the process is to maybe if it is something during our next meeting that we could put on the agenda or to start that process of whether or not it's, I guess would it be what, petitioning the Planning Commission to relook at the comp plan for that, Marchant?
I was called by the mayor?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, the Planning Commission has put the update of the comprehensive plan on hold while the Dominion discussion concludes. If the council wanted to initiate a plan amendment on their own, they could do so, and you would refer that to the Planning Commission. So if you wanted, the council wanted me to draft a resolution initiating that process to replan those properties on that side, that's something we could help you to do. You would refer it to the commission. The commission would hold a hearing. They'd make their recommendation. You'd also hold a hearing, make your recommendation. It'd just be kind of an out-of-turn plan amendment, given the fact that the council or the commission has put their update on hold.
Right.
So.
Okay. All right. Sure. Absolutely.
So what's the projection then for that? I mean, is it indefinite hold or any projection for when you think that might get completed?
I believe once the FCC makes their decision, it's the FCC, right?
Oh, the SCC?
The FCC.
Yes, right.
ABC.
So that could be a year to 2 years.
It could be, yes, sir.
From the time that they make a submission. That's all.
Correct.
That seems like a long time.
Okay. We are also working right now with our on-call planning services. The commission was going to do a quick update a lot of the tables, those things, kind of do an interim thing. For instance, we still have this property as being sold, and us moving our town center to the Harrower. So it was more of a housekeeping exercise. Our on-call services, I think, are getting ready to put together a plan that's going to update both the comp plan, the zoning ordinance, and our subdivision ordinance all at once. So it may make sense to go ahead and let that take it forward, do this one amendment, if you would like to, out of turn. And then hopefully in the middle of that process from our on-call planner that they'll have a decision on the Dominion that can be incorporated into that update. So.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions from Rashawn regarding this? It looks like you had a comment or.
I just don't know why Dominion the submission to the SEC would hold up our comp plan. Can you educate me, please?
Okay, remember the Planning Commission took quite a bit of time to put together the letter that you ultimately forwarded to them.
Yes.
So that was part of, they put it on hold while they focused on that. There's a Planning Commission meeting next Monday. I can revisit the topic with them, see where they're at on the project, and if they want to move forward on the updates, that would be fine. I guess the point we're at now is if we're going to have our on-call start initiating the plan update, does it make sense for the commission to copy that effort? So at this point, it may be a moot thing for the commission to do if we're going to have our consultant do it. So I just said the same thing 3 different ways. I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate that because the recommendation that they brought forward, that's gone. So they should be moving with new business. But are you recommending that we go ahead with the on-call, initiating the process that they're doing?
Yes, sir. At this point, I would recommend just to let that play out. We've not finalized that scope of work with the consultant. We'll probably have a better idea. That's going to span over probably 1 or 2 budgets. So we're not quite at the point to pull the trigger on that. So we can get you an update next month on that. I'll also talk to the Planning Commission about, what this process is and what's going on with the on-call, and we'll get back to you.
Mr. Ring, I'm not sure. We're on council member time, and
No, I understand that, but you're asking about the planning commission. I could give you a comment on that.
well, okay. Well, we're right now. I'm speaking to Prashant, please. If you can just have a seat. Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was done.
Okay.
The commission was not made aware of what Brian and I have been working on with the on-call, so once I have the opportunity to brief that to them, they may decide we'll let that go too. So I just haven't had a chance yet.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So you will brief the commission next Monday when we meet at 7 o'clock on this subject?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because, just thinking out loud, if we wait until that SCC, I mean, this guy's up in years. I mean, this thing just keeps getting kicked down the road. It's sooner rather than later, we need to give him an answer. I think that's only fair. So, to me, that little strip is not in the totality of things. I think it's something, that we really need to take a serious look at sooner rather than later. So if you could brief us Monday, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
So the process, again, is would the council would make a directive for you to look at, or to go back to the planning commission?
No, there's 3 ways to initiate zoning amendments and plan amendments.
Comprehensive
plans amendments. You have the council, an individual property owner, and the planning commission can initiate one on their own as well. In this case, if you are the council wants to collectively initiate that, we'll provide you the language to initiate the amendment. You'll refer that amendment to the planning commission. They'll hold their hearing, and then they'll make their recommendation to you, and then you'll hold your own hearing on the matter, and then make your final decision on whether or not to change the land use map.
Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions regarding just this issue here?
Just for the record, I would want to hear from the planning commission. So I think the step that he's suggesting is the right step. Bringing it to the planning commission first.
About the issue of updating the comprehensive plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Has the planning commission already had an opinion based on these 3 parcels?
We have. So we were through the majority of the review of the plan. We reviewed the plan land use map, and the straw vote at the time was to keep it in its current residential designation.
So leave it as is?
Correct. And that would have been part of their recommendation to you. And then you would have your own hearing and make your own decision.
Understood. Okay.
So.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir. But
Okay.
So the planning commission already has provided an opinion on Mr. Watts'
The 3 parcels.
on the
It's
3
Mr. Watts
parcels.
and- Yeah.
Correct. I sat down with a work session, or several work sessions, and we literally went through the whole comprehensive plan, made marks and additions.
Has that been brought forward to the town council? Has that been?
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
then I think
we're
that's
doing
what
the
I would
dominion
want to
discussion.
see. Because what we see here is we see Mr. Watts, or the 3 parcels, they have indicated what they would want to do. And I would not want to act until I hear from the planning commission. So if you can, in some way, have that being forwarded to us, because then I would see what the planning commission's opinion is. We already have the 3 owners, what their request is, then for us to vote and to move forward with whatever direction we need to take.
What I saw happening is if the council initiates the plan amendment on its own, the commission's going to weigh in on that as part of their hearing, and they will let you know that, hey, during the review process, this was our recommendation. That's what I expect they're going to.
I appreciate that, but that's working backwards. The planning commission serves the town of Haymarket. So if they have an opinion on a request by town residents, then I think they should forward it to us so we can work through it and ask the planning commission questions. Why? Because I want to know why they would want to keep it the way it is. I don't want to.
Well, the commission hasn't had their hearing yet. In other words, I think they're moving through in the way that they should, which is normally they're your body for planning. They're the ones that advise you on planning matters. And so they've done the work. They've gone through it. They were working on the Dominion. Once that work got done, they were going to hold their hearing and then bring the whole plan to you, an updated plan to you, and you would have your hearing. I think right now you're wanting to move that forward ahead of it. If I go to the commission next Monday and say, hey, our on-call is likely to take it over, and they say we agree, then you would still initiate on your own, send it to the commission, they'll weigh in on it, bring it up to you, and that's the way it goes. So I believe it. I understand your issue of concern, but it has played out, and I think in the manner that it's supposed to.
Good, thank you.
Okay. And I'll just probably, there again, a lot of discussion on this, just one thing tonight, but obviously I'd like to probably put that on our agenda for our next work session to have a proper discussion, and of course have our Vice Mayor here as well. My intent tonight wasn't, but this is good information to get out and good response and questions. So with that, that's all I have for this evening. So we do have an executive session, unless there's any other comments before we go into exec. Yep, okay, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, the form of the motion will be to enter into closed session under Virginia Code Section 2.23711A7 and A3, specifically to discuss specific legal matters requiring advice of counsel, namely the Finley construction rents, liquidated damages, and disputes over billing, and the second one being the consideration of real property, specifically with the very thing and the very thing for her tenants of the town.
Okay.
So moved.
All right. Second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Passanello. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, great. All right. All right.
Do I need to read this whole thing, or do you want me to just say?
Let me just show you which part.
Which part?
Here's the part where it says what you will do, and just read a little thing. So what you would read is this part here: the transaction involved, the nature of the personal interest, and that you are a member of a group affected by that, notwithstanding personal interest you're able to participate.
So basically the whole thing.
All the way down to there.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting back to order. First, for the record, Ms. Swinford, do you have something you want to?
Yeah, for the record, I'd like to state that I signed a Conflict of Interest Act declaration that states that the transactions involved by the discussion, do I say discussion of the town center property?
Yes.
The nature, because I am employed by the very thing, that I, Pamela Swinford, am a member of a group affected by the transaction, notwithstanding the personal interest in the outcome. I am able to participate in the transaction fairly, objectively, and in the public interest.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
And for the record, if you could bring us back into session.
Certainly, Mayor. The motion would be to certify that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, considered, or discussed in the meeting by the town council.
Oh, right. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Jennifer, thank you.
Morris.
Yes.
Swinford. Yes. Woods.
Aye.
Leach.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
And Passanello.
Aye. Great.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we direct the town attorney and the town manager to proceed as directed in closed session.
Okay.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, great. I think that's it, guys.
Move to adjourn.
Move we adjourn
There you go.
to the national championship.
Yeah. Motion been second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
I don't really care.